You guys asked for this one, and you got it. Also, I'm bored out of my mind from quarantine, so here's everything you didn't know about SWAT Kats. Everybody's favorite, surprisingly violent mid-90s action show that mixes equal parts Top Gun, Batman the Animated Series, and Cats the Musical.
Spotlight! And a drum roll, please.
No! I'm just playing. Although, come on, who wouldn't want to see a SWAT Kats musical with this sick-ass opening riff? Yeah. So dope. How is that not a Kiss song? I could air guitar that all day. Oops. How did that get in there? Huh? Alright. But here's something better. The original show composers Randall Crispin and John Zucker reuniting after 25 years to play the theme song themselves. Now, here's your first fact. SWAT Kats' full title is SWAT Kats, the Radical Squadron. Why? Because everything was radical in the 90s. Because of a certain show we always mention that I will never get tired of talking about.
One more time? Street Sharks. Talking about Street Sharks.
Half shark, half man.
Both of those, actually, because both are pretty dope. And while SWAT Kats was influenced by all of the aforementioned properties, it ended up being very different and unique among its peers. I mean, they had aerial dogfights with ghosts.
You can't stop me!
SWAT Kats was edgy, dark, and action-packed with awesome set pieces that were surprisingly graphic for kids. But it's the edginess that made SWAT Kats one of the greatest action shows Hanna-Barbera ever produced. It was unlike anything they've ever done before. But it's also the reason why Jane Fonda got the show canceled.
Huh?
Nah, not really, but kind of. You'll have to keep watching for the whole story. This is everything you didn't know about SWAT Kats, the Radical Squadron. SWAT Kats premiered in 1993 and ran for 25 episodes, though it's actually 23 episodes and 4 half episodes crammed together to make 25. It only ran for 2 seasons, but developed a devoted fan base thanks to pulse-pounding action sequences like this. SWAT Kats initially ran on TBS.
Watch out for SWAT Kats, the Radical Squadron!
That's because Ted Turner, who owned TBS, purchased SWAT Kats production company Hanna-Barbera in 1991, which brought with it the fantastic world of Hanna-Barbera kids TV programming block. Not long after, SWAT Kats debuted during TBS's Hanna-Barbera animation block, Sunday morning in front of the television.
Are you kids gonna spend the whole Sunday morning in front of the television? Yeah!
It's a long title for a block. Alongside its bizarro world opposite, Two Stupid Dogs. 2 stupid dogs! Cause it's about 2 stupid dogs, and this is about 2 very smart cats.
How do you know it's not one of those bugs or a rat?
Bugs are cold-blooded. The cat scanner only picks up warm-blooded creatures.
Actually, can I take advantage and play one of my favorite all-time promos ever?
It's the Macho Man and the SWAT Kat.
Yes!
Mess with these cats and you're going down.
Yes! That's it. I love Macho Man, SWAT Kats, come on. Now, some of us as kids may have been surprised that SWAT Kats was a Hanna-Barbera show because, after all, Hanna-Barbera was founded in 1957 and produced old school classics like The Jetsons,
Meet George Jetson!
Flintstones, and Scooby-Doo. So, what are they doing making SWAT Kats? A show where villains just bomb buildings, like, all the time. Hanna-Barbera actually did have a rich history of producing high-quality action shows like Johnny Quest and Super Friends, but they never really made anything like this before. Certainly not stylish, high-octane action shows.
This baby's pretty darn fast for a street machine.
SWAT Kats, along with Pirates of Dark Water, were Hanna-Barbera's first modern attempts at something dark and serious. There weren't a lot of jokes in this show, well, aside from plenty of cat puns.
See what I tell you? We made it without a scratch.
It all came about because the studio desperately needed to try something different. They were struggling financially and their last hit was The Smurfs, which ended in 1989. So they weren't exactly, raking in that cartoon money. You know, the bags of money with the dollar sign on them? You hold like this.
What'd you think I was gonna grab ones?
Before SWAT Kats, they experimented by producing shows like the animated Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure TV show.
Excellent!
Fish Police,
Fish City can only be described as the bouillabaisse.
and as mentioned, the Pirates of Dark Water, which all failed to catch on for a variety of reasons. Probably because they never blasted aliens in the face at point blank range. But all the experimentation paid off. SWAT Kats was an instant hit. Nielsen rated it the #1 syndicated animation show its first year. But the network had no clue that it would be successful, according to show creators Christian and Yvonne Tremblay.
They launched the show, there was no marketing, not much, there was no licensing and merchandising. But what happened is that the show kicked in. We had tremendous rating.
So when it quickly became popular, the network didn't have any toys ready to hit the shelves and failed to monetize the show in time to turn a profit.
For Turner, it was just too late because they were financing the whole show, but the revenues were not coming in. It would have been coming in if they would have kept the show off the air. So it was basically a financial decision why the show has been put off the air.
I don't like the sound of this.
This is the real reason why SWAT Kats was canceled, but not the whole reason. After all, why was Turner Broadcasting so unprepared for its success? Was it because of the violence? Was the show even actually that violent? Granted, there were a lot of exploding helicopters. No, seriously, they loved blowing up helicopters, as the show creators readily admit.
Choppers, are being crashed on the walls, and you don't always see, the parachute coming out,
But how's that different from other shows that were on at the same time, like Batman the Animated Series? Now, I'm not denying that there are adult moments, like when the show killed poor Dr. Zyme in the Giant Bacteria episode. But it's still a cartoon about two cats with puns for names, Chance Furlong and Jake Clausen. By the way, Jake's call sign was Razor, but I think it should have been OCD.
Great shot, buddy. Lousy shot. I'll be buffing out the dings for weeks.
Damn, you negative much? But seriously, he has a problem.
Crud. Looks like we got our first ding.
Dude, focus on the bright side. You're still in the air.
That makes me mad.
Chance's call sign was T-Bone, but it should have been Hater. Hating ass Hater.
Good night, Sir Razor.
Good night, my queen.
Good night, my queen.
Chance was a better pilot and fighter. He was also a bit of a hothead who always pushed it to the limit, literally.
We're already in maximum overdrive. Now let's live dangerously.
I identified with him the most. Not for any of the cool stuff that he did, but because he was obsessed with cartoons. In this case, Scaredy Cat.
Oh, that scaredy cat really cracks me up.
See? Just like me, except I would never hug up the bench like that. Come on, dude, that's really bad gym etiquette. But I want to give Jake a shout out here, because he's the mechanical genius who created my other favorite character, the Turbo Cat. It's so dope with the sonic boom sound effect and the theme playing. Makes you want to, shred. And it always came through every time and never malfunctioned. You know what else malfunctioned there? The text animation. Text bleeds just a bit past the edge. But who we kidding? No one's perfect. I can't draw let alone animate a cartoon, so...
Crud, I'm gonna have to fix that. Jake
made all kinds of goodies like jetpacks, scrambler missiles, octopus missiles, slicer missiles. Let's just say my man liked his missiles, which you can check out on the official SWAT Kats YouTube channel. But my favorite invention of his was the flying chair. He even made a chair awesome.
My thanks, Sir Razor.
Jake was a master of engineering and sweet entrances.
Need a lift?
If you think about it, he might be one of the smartest cartoon characters ever. He built the Turbo Cat from scraps in the junkyard. He literally built a supersonic jet out of trash, which makes it fitting that he was voiced by Barry Gordon, who voiced another brainy character who loves machines.
What do you think of my latest invention? It's, swell, Donatello.
Donatello loves machines. Yep, Donatello from the original TMNT cartoon. He can do anything, just like Jake. Before they were SWAT Kats, Chance and Jake were pilots for the Enforcers, a police force that protects Mega Cat City with a ton of artillery.
Fire!
They were discharged for disobeying orders, aka for being badasses. Oh, and for accidentally crashing into the new Enforcer headquarters. That might have been the bigger part. Which they have to pay for by working in the junkyard for eternity. That is a foul sentence.
Yeah, and at your present salary should only take 1,000 years.
Commander Ulysses S. Farrell is the leader of the Enforcers and their former boss. He dislikes the SWAT Kats for breaking the rules and for being way cooler than him.
I've always said the SWAT Kats are nothing but lawless vigilantes.
Oh, and for having way better burns.
What do you think I am, stupid? Bingo.
Suck it, dude. Farrell was voiced by Gary Owens, who we all know as Space Ghost.
I'll pick you up in 3 minutes.
But I always thought Farrell had major Stinger from Top Gun vibes.
Son, your ego is writing checks your body can't cash.
But my favorite Farrell is his niece, Lieutenant Felina Farrell, who first debuted in season 2. She's independent, reckless, and has a lot of cool action Batman-esque moves. She's also one stubborn she-cat. Not my words.
You are one stubborn she-cat.
And then there's Deputy Mayor Calico Briggs, who was voiced by the incredible Tress MacNeille.
Looks like I've got a big problem here.
Who you may recognize as almost every female voice from The Simpsons.
At my age, I don't have much saliva left, so you'll have to lick my thumb before I can turn the page.
Not Marge or Lisa, but all the other ones. Unfortunately, she doesn't have much comedy to deliver here, just a lot of exposition.
Dr. Greenbox is rewiring his prototype mining device to try to reverse Shard's condition.
Oh, and don't forget Mayor Manx, who's a terrible mayor, playing golf while his city burns.
Oh, that color is simply amazing.
Then there are the villains, and this is where we really see influences from other 80s cartoons and pop culture. Take Dark Cat.
The power to destroy Mega Cat City will be mine.
Their primary antagonist who feels like a parallel for Skeletor.
I command He-Man's memory to now disappear.
He even has the same penchant for explaining his master plans to nobody at all.
All that's left is to plug into the main electrical grid.
Why do villains do that? Actually, wait, I talk to myself all the time, so it's normal, right? Anyway, Dark Cat had a great voice thanks to Tony-nominated actor Brock Peters, who you may remember as Tom Robinson in To Kill a Mockingbird. After Dark Cat, you've got the Metallicats, who look like Terminators but talk like mobsters.
Let's get rid of them.
No, stupid! They're gonna help us round up all the stray cats!
The original names were the Thunder Gangsters, an homage to their gangster origins. Oh, speaking of Terminators, Robert Patrick, the T-1000 and T2 himself, voiced Dr. Lighter Greenbox in the episode Chaos in Crystal.
Thanks to my GemCat 6000 mining machine.
Though he was originally created to be the villain in Destructive Nature, where he was supposed to be the botanist that created the Plantimals. That's why his name is Greenbox.
I think I've had enough gardening for one day.
Then there's Lord Mutalord.
He's right, Shrek. We are pirates.
Voiced by Worf, Michael Dorn from Star Trek The Next Generation. He's like Mumra, post-transformation, with their common love for dramatic upshots. Like camera looking up so you can look even more swole. Now, Volcanus, he has strong Michael Bay Megatron look, but with fire vibes. He also hated helicopters. Everybody hates helicopters in this show. Mad Cat is a lot like Joker.
Mind if I cut him?
Which makes it even weirder that he wasn't voiced by Mark Hamill, who actually played the Red Lynx.
This is almost too easy.
Instead, Mad Cat was played by the great Roddy McDowall, though his look was reportedly based on Jay Leno, hence the chin, which explains why his rival is a feline late-night host named David Litterbin. Whoever came up with that name, you win.
Mega Cat Broadcasting's highest paid entertainer, David Litterbin, is being held hostage by a crazy cat.
And then there's the villainous Turmoil, who feels a lot like Baroness, but dressed like M. Bison from Street Fighter. I can't be the only one. She has an all-time great villain laugh, too. Dr. Viper was a pretty typical mad scientist who also mutates into Catzilla in the episode Mutation City. Yes! Great action sequence. Actually, better guitar riff. Time to bust out the so good. Oh, and I love the Past Master, whose original concept names were the Time Master and the Timekeeper. Glad they went with Past Master. Pastmaster is definitely the best and his episodes were always fun. Bummer that he probably died in this episode called The Deadly Pyramid. That's a borderline Wilhelm scream, so he's gotta be dead, right? But another one of my favorite villains is Morbius. He's totally unique. He's a rival pilot who's got eyes in the back of his head, which is why he was supposed to be named Oculus, but it was changed at the last minute after they discovered Marvel already had a villain with that name. Morbius was pretty cool, but none of the villains compared to my absolute favorite, this old lady.
I called Mega Cat Auto Club 30 minutes ago. I should get this tow for free.
The show was seriously good at world building and created a deep cast of rich characters that audiences loved. So why did Turner let the show get canceled? Why were they so unprepared for its success? See, 1994 was a big year for violence in cartoons and actually all TV.
There is not only a problem of violence in society at large, but there's also a problem of violence on television.
They're totally overreacting.
Bullseye! Pepper Stew really hit the spot.
Okay, point taken. Ted Turner also happened to support Congress efforts to rein in TV violence, as did his wife, actress, and activist Jane Fonda, who I guess some blame for the cancellation of the show.
Jane Fonda just thought the show was too violent, like you told me, because she was Ted Turner's wife back then. There's some truth to that aspect.
It wasn't because of Fonda specifically, but because Ted Turner was sensitive to the violent nature of the show. As he stated in a 1994 press conference, and I quote, "Look at the Hanna-Barbera library. You've got Yogi Bear, the Jetsons, the Flintstones, and the Smurfs. They're all decent, sweet programs. Captain Planet is the same way. We're not going with the shoot 'em up type cartoons," he said. Like the Power Rangers, aka this. As a result, he didn't put the full support of the network behind the show when it launched.
The show was launched on kind of a soft launch. You know, it was not like, well, we're making, the show, because you can imagine, on the front of the newspaper, Ted Turner's picture with a quote, "We're not making violent show," and then you see pictures of, the chopper SWAT Kats, being blown off, on the wall. That would have been very bad.
So they were too late to capitalize on the show's success because Ted Turner didn't want to identify his network with SWAT Kats and their penchant for wanton destruction. That's the whole reason why the show ended, which is a shame because this would have been a toy retailer's dream. There were so many cool gizmos. I would have killed for the Globetrotters. Oh, or the Tunneler. And the toys they did end up making were kind of inaccurate since they were based on early concept drawings from the show, which is why the Dark Cat toy is part cyborg, even though he's not a cyborg on the show. I mean, look at his metal stomach. In the end, Hanna-Barbera made a great show that ended up on the wrong network at the wrong time. It would have fit in perfectly at Kids WB with Batman the Animated Series and Batman Beyond in the late 90s, making SWAT Kats truly ahead of its time. Just check out some of these darker standout episodes like Mutation City, when T-Bone almost dies by drowning and spawns one of the show's darkest lines.
"If you drown, I'm gonna kill you."
Or Catastrophe, with the appearance of the Alliance of Evil when Dark Cat, Dr. Viper, and the Metallic Cats all team up to destroy the SWAT Kats, and actually almost do.
Crud, the whole place is wired to blow!
Then there's the dark side of SWAT Kats, which has T-Bone and Razor enter a parallel universe where they meet their truly evil counterparts who deck this poor sleeping security guard. A man's just doing his job. He did get dropped pretty quick. Oh, and the episode Cry Turmoil, where T-Bone betrays the SWAT Kats.
"I'm not gonna let you ruin the best opportunity of my life."
Side note, writer Lance Falk originally wanted Commander Farrell to turn evil for real in this episode instead of T-Bone, who only pretends to be evil.
T-Bone, what are you doing? Keeping us both alive long enough to get the drop on this crazy she-cat.
And don't forget A Bright and Shiny Future, showing an alternate future where the Metallic Cats rule Mega Cat City and enslave all cats.
They are non-metallic creatures and must be made our slaves, along with the rest of catkind.
There could have been so much more. Sadly, SWAT Kats was canceled so abruptly that a couple of episodes were written, recorded, and storyboarded, but never animated. These include episodes titled Succubus and Turmoil 2, featuring the return of the villain Turmoil and depriving us of more gnarly guitar riffs. SWAT Kats cancellation also signaled a metaphorical end of Hanna-Barbera, as its programming block, The Fantastic World of Hanna-Barbera, also ended and the company was shifted to an in-house development company for Cartoon Network in 1994. But take solace, while SWAT Kats may have ended, it still lives on in our hearts. And my air guitar. The Tremblers tried to get a reboot of the series going on Kickstarter a few years ago called SWAT Kats Revolution, but WB passed. Come on, WB. But they're still trying. Until then, you could always play the SWAT Kats SNES game.
Grab some killer gadgets and get ready to kick some tail in SWAT Kats, the Radical Squadron for the Super NES.
You can also check out other shows the Tremblers worked on, like Lunatics Unleashed, where the Looney Tunes are, I think, superheroes? I think they're superheroes.
Observe. You can stop observing now.
What was your favorite SWAT Kats episode? Who wants more air guitar from me? Huh? No? Alright, whatever. Let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed that and want to watch more, make sure you subscribe for new episodes I drop every other week. And for older episodes, make sure you click over there.